thing with Weird New Jersey now, and that's the thing. It's just like I was thinking about our friend Jim again. So we've got this friend Jim who Tony supports the show.
Yeah,
he's definitely downloaded episodes and stuff like that. A good guy and part of a crowd that we go up to New York State with and hang with. Blah blah blah. At any rate, he's on like this hot dog crusade where he's been
going every hot dog joint.
A group of guys, yeah, man, and they're
it's like a Facebook group he joined, and it's all Jersey hot dogs. And
nice.
But if Jim, like, if you put something together and just sent it over to Weird New Jersey as a, Weird New Jersey, like, New Jersey's hot dog joints, and just put it like, this has got this and that, like. And you could just put something entertaining enough together about New Jersey hot dog things, like. They need content just like anything else. It's just like he could easily get a, like
I've been working on my Dave Davies piece for them.
That's right. Hot dog, and you tie it into the hot dog story.
I mentioned that to someone today while we were down there. It's just like, well, if we could get Dave Davies to get a table down here or whatever, he's at Burger. I worked it today at some point.
Did it ring true to them, or was that news to them when you told them that?
Beatdown's breaking news.
It might have been Ethan's table when I was saying it near, but like we had a little group around us at the time. My friend Charles had come over, who had actually curated the show and stuff like that. He put it all together, and we were all just kind of yip yapping. There was another gal that was there. Her name is Diane Ferris. She's got a show on WFMU 91.1. And Diane was also in a band.
They always
called
announce it's like
Children.
3 different locations. It's always right. It's Mount, and it's like Mount Hope, and
right. Hudson Valley.
Where it's not from is Uppsala College anymore.
That's exactly.
But that said,
so when you first
she was in a band called Children in Adult Jails, and she was there. She had a booth and stuff like that. And
was she the one that had the Misfits collection?
Yeah, she did.
I knew it had to be somebody like that thing that she. I was just going to ask about that, John. So, the prices, they were $1,500 for a Misfits single.
Yeah, Misfits singles are big bucks.
One of them was like, I want to say like $3,000 was one of them listed on there. Yeah. I mean, they were like insane prices.
They are. Because the Misfits are kind of like top T-shirt sales like of all time. It's like you got to go like it's like. Right, it's like the Ramones shirt, it's the CBGB shirt,
and then it's
like the Metallica shirt, but the Misfits is like up there,
She had like she had a replacement Stink record up there that I know I have, and I think it was 100 Bones. And I was just like,
there's
like,
70. But this is what I'm going to turn into the guy behind the table. But like, there's literally the first pressings of those, there's like they're all hand pressed with the Stink on it. Like no two are the same, and it was like all the people at Twin Tone.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it might be one of those. Even
I might very well have one of those because I bought it 100 years ago. It's from the early 80s.
So I was going to mention that when I first started talking about the guys behind the table. So I'm at a table that Paul Fisher's at, and he's looking through records, and the guy's like, hey, I see you bought those replacement records. How about I interest you in this thing behind me? And it's a $75 single first, whatever. I don't know what name it was. Yeah. First pressing. And then he goes, well, let me introduce. I can't remember if Paul was holding the record or he hard sells him into AOD's. Paul bought a vinyl copy of AOD's first record, Wacky Hijinks. And the guy's like, he's like, now let me tell you this. Let me tell you this.
I would be able to say to him, I already got one.
I know, but he, Paul's like, just like one of us, right? He goes up there and the guy's like, now let me tell you this. If you want, that record you're holding right there is the most authentic New Jersey record. If you wanted to know what it was like growing up in New Jersey in the 80s and listening to punk, this record has it right here for, like he was talking to like a 25-year-old kid. And so I'm standing next to Paul.
That's just in the A's. Next one, Bedlam, right here.
Bedlam. So I go, yeah, this guy, so Paul, was right next to me, and I'm like, yeah, he wouldn't know anything about that. And he goes, "Oh, where did you grow up?" And he's like, "I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s." It's like, I mean, look at,
I was in this band.
and I was in my own, band. Yeah. And it was like, come on, you're really hard selling Paul. Like, is he some middle America guy that just walked in and is like, whoa, what is this stuff? It's like, this is so unique.
Paul, he thought he was like 35.
Yeah, like, I was like, or he's just like, oh, I know the average Joe is getting back into vinyl. I'm sorry we don't have your Bon Jovi record, but let me interest you in a AOD Wacky Hijinks. It'll knock your socks off, fella. Like, the pitch that he put on was like, the only people in here are people like us, the people like you that are buying records.
No, it's amazing. I'd find a record like this at a record fair in New Jersey.
Right. And
I went through Ethan's Beatle collection.
Oh, yeah.
Ethan had introducing the Beatles on BJ Records. He had.
What was he asking for that one?
He had most of the Beatle records. He was asking for a Tensky for the cheapest things, and then a lot of $20 records and like an occasional 40. He might have had Live Peace Toronto up for $8 or $12.
I think
$8. I think like an $8.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. We were just like, right. But he didn't have Sergeant Pepper. He wanted 25 for. And Magical Mystery Tour with a torn booklet inside, because I was just like, you got the book inside? He's like, it's torn. He still wanted, I think, 20 bones for that one.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, it's like, depends on the like there's what's the label? Like, is it an Apple version, or is it the orange label, or is the rainbow? Is it the mono, the stereo? I'd bought a lot of records, and in it there was a German pressing of the Ringo record, and it gatefolds, but it has no book, and it looks like it never had any book. Like, it's kind of, it's like, but stuff like it, but the record itself is like really clean. So it's like, okay, I'll listen to this one, and I'll just keep the other one on the shelf. Yeah, I was upstate at a cabin up in Greene County, and the guy had a nice Technics. He's an audio mixer, the guy who owns the cabin, and his wife is a television producer. So he had a nice Technics.
Nice. Turntable
receiver, and then he had an Orbit turntable, and then he had nice Boston acoustic speakers, and then he had his record collection was like perfect for up there. Like, it was a great mix. Like, he had Ram. Like, it wasn't like he had the obvious. He had Ram. He had like Odeta's, like a collection of Odetta records. He had like the songs of Chris Christopherson. He had the Fleetwood Mac record, not Rumors, the one before it. And then he had Smokey Robinson and the Miracles Go Into a Go-Go album, which is like a so much better record than you think of, like a Motown record. So it has like Tracks of My Tears, Ooh Baby Baby, and it's also got like the deep cuts are like Head to Toe, which Elvis Costello covers on Get Happy, is on that record. So it was like popping that on was really good. Trying to think what else was there, but there was a Buck Owens Christmas album in there. Like, it was like you could anybody could grab anything. And you're like, but it also had Sabotage by Black Sabbath that had Deep Purple in rock. It had.
What was he getting for him?
This was the collection at the
guy's house. Yeah,
yeah. So, but most of them did have stickers on it from Pegasus Records, where they were like somewhere between $5 and $10. But then they were all in plastic sleeves, but the record not in the cardboard, but in one of those
those anti-static
inside the bag, which was kind of it's like,
you do that at your own house if you were putting your house up, if you had a place like that as a rental property and your record collection was in there, would you leave?
But the sad thing is, I wouldn't put my record collection in there. I would curate the records in there, though. I would have the records for the same way I wouldn't give you like chock full of nuts. I'd put out a decent coffee for you, or like we got there and it's like, here, we left you a bottle of wine for staying at our place. Like, and you don't want to go like, oh great, thanks for the swill. Like, it's a drinkable, $15 bottle of wine.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to add, but just listening to that record that were there. He's not putting out Let It Bleed or the Velvet Undergrounds, or it's like this ones he's selecting are eclectic, but they're also like, they're affordable to replace. But like, right? They're not irreplaceable.
Well, no, I mean, there was like it was an original Apple RAM. By McCartney, and it was the record, and it was an Orbit turntable. Like it didn't even have
a nice turntable.
Right. Like you had to like manually put the arm.
Right. It's one of those high end.
Would make me a little. Well, I mean, it was it's like one of those entry level like high end turntables. So it's probably $300-400, but still, that someone screws with your needle, it's going to cost you.
Well, they're going to take it out of your Verbo or or whatever account, Airbnb account.
But the records, it was like Patsy Cline's greatest hits. It was, I think there was a best of Alice Cooper. You know what I mean? Like someone could find something in there, or just go, Alice Cooper, I've never listened to his records, and you would put it on. And you're like, oh, I know this, or it's an ELO record, but then it was also there was a best of Newport Folk Festival. There was a Taj Mahal album. So you know what I mean? Like literally, it would be a great place to like someone would go, this is amazing. I've heard this person's name before, and I put it in, and it sounded great. It was really, I mean, come on, it's a cabin in Greene County. It's very hipster kind of hang too. And So.
What I noticed, because I was thumbing through records, just kind of, I wasn't really there to buy anything. It was kind of casually looking. I don't even have a turntable set up anymore. But I had to, I had two things. My coworker, my buddy at work, he garbage picked. He lives in Jersey City, and he found one of those Crosley turntables that has turntable and speakers. So he nabbed it, and
with the knitting needle.
I think so. So a couple of weeks ago, he's like, I got to get a record to try this out. And then he was like, I guess he went up to his parents, his father's house, and found his mom's records. And so he brought those back, and then he was looking around at getting new stuff online. And I was like, can't you go to one of these things? And he's like, no, down in Jersey City, everything's like, I've been in the record stores. Everything's like $20, $25 is like the going rate. Yeah. So I said, all right, I'm going out to this record store show. I'll look for stuff for you. And so I said, I started digging in the $5 bin or the 2-for-1 bins, and those kind of bins had stuff like I saw a couple of copies of Grand Illusion by Styx. I saw some Kansas records, like the main ones that they were known for.
I mean, that's better than usually you go in those bins and you fit like all the Herbie Hancock, or not Herbie Hancock, Herb Alpert records.
So for $1, I picked the Rod Stewart. With the brown cover, everybody
Every picture tells a story.
Yeah. I picked that up for $1.
I mean, those first like 4, 5 Rod Stewart records. I mean, they were all listenable. I mean, Rod Stewart's got a great voice, and
so my takeaway is that like at a record show like that, everybody that's there, like that's the people that are buying stuff is like. There's your punk rock stuff that it's always going to hold value. There's the Beatles like collectible stuff and things of those rack. But then there's like in those bins are like they're just like people are clearing out their basements or clearing, and that's where I go in and buy collections. And so I got a F load of like of these records. There was a couple of REO Speed, right, stuff like that. That the people that listen to that music are not going back to listening to vinyl because their houses,
kids go nuts. Like kids like Fleetwood Mac records, like
probably right.
Like those are like I think Ethan does pretty well with anytime he has a copy of Rumors. That doesn't last very long. But there's the stuff that sort of has the current like Genesis records, like even with Phil Collins. Those kids like that. We were talking about that here too. It's always surprising with those records, like Blondie records, Go-Go records. Like they're not 2 for $5, but they're $10-15. Talking Heads records are like you can't get a Talking Heads record for less than $15-20.
I thought I saw 77 go today because there's so many records that you own that you just like, man, that like, you know, I've got that maybe once or twice.
I saw a lot of that.
Like Talking Head 77, $25.
Yeah, that's good. Like I've been trying to get what's the.
But in the discount bins though, you find some like I was like
Remain in Light. That was I'm